A very warm welcome in the class of Applications of GCD in Number Theory. Myself Rupak Bhattacharjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, JIS College of Engineering. Today in this class, this is actually the extension class of GCD, and we are going to discuss various applications of GCD. To be frank, we are going to emphasize on one very specific field where GCD is having a huge contribution. So, to attend this class and to understand the things, we have some prerequisites, and they are obviously the same concept like basic number systems idea is required, and we also need the concept of division algorithm in this particular topic, and we need the Euclidean algorithm for finding out the GCD in this segment also, which is already discussed in your class in the last lecture. So proceeding further, what we get in the pre-visualization part, we are having that when we are calculating GCD, one way to compute GCD of two numbers is to use their prime factorization. We have discussed basically three methods, method 1, method 2, method 3 in the last class, and we got two numbers. First one is 46305 and second one is 31500. Now if you make the prime factorization of these two numbers, you will get this one for the first one and you will get this one for the second one. So what are the common prime factors? First, 2 is present here but not, 3 is present here but it is present also here, so we can take 3. After that there is 5, there is also 5, so we can take 5 also, and we take 7 here, we get 7 here, so we can get 7 here also. But here we are having 3 cube, here we are having 3 square, so the maximum common part is 3 square. Then we are having 5 and 5 cube, so it will be simply 5, and then it is 7 cube and 7, so you have to keep 7. So what we get, 3 into 3 into 5 into 7, so we get 9 into 35, that means 315 as the GCD of these two numbers, and you have discovered it, rather calculated it by prime factorization method. Now as in the last class we are just giving some recapitulation but in some different mode, we are now proceeding further for this process. Look at this. Our target here is to find out the GCD of these same two numbers, and obviously we know that it will be going to be 315, and we get it here 315. But how it came? We are taking this 31500 and 46305 mod 31500. That means if we write 31500, then 46305, what we are getting 31500, and subtracting them we get 14805. Now this 14805 will divide 31500 and we will get, this is by 2, and we get 29610, and here we are getting 1890 and so on. So if you go do this one, 46305 mod 31500, you will get After dividing it by this, the remainder is 14805. That is why you are writing 14805 over here. And this one mod 14805, this means look at this, 31500 is divided by 14805 and you are getting 1890. So that is why this 1890 is coming, and this 1890 will divide now 14805 and the remainder will be taken. The remainder will be 1575, and then 1575 will divide 1890. It will give you the remainder as 315, and when you divide 315, you are dividing 1575 by 315, you are getting that your remainder is coming as 0. And when your remainder is coming as 0, that means the last step remainder is your GCD of the whole calculation, and you got this one. So what you get, GCD of 46305 and 31500 is equal to 315. This idea will help us to generate the next concept. This concept is linear Diophantine equations. What does it mean? A Diophantine equation is a polynomial equation. You have to emphasize on these highlighted parts, whose solutions are restricted to integers. Means, just from the visualization part, if you have this one and if you have a line, there are infinite number of solutions of this particular single line. Among them, if you get integer 1 and integer 2 as its solution, these types of solutions are the solutions of linear Diophantine equation. Means, suppose we are able to see that the y component is 0 here. If this is an integer, then we can take it. Similarly, here x component is 0. If you get another integer over here, you can take it. But questions are, is it guaranteed that always you are going to get integral solutions? And if so, then how many integral solutions you can get? And if so, then how to find them out? So apparently it looks like a very interesting problem, and it is also truly interesting, but the fact is that how to tackle this problem is another interesting part. So these types of equations are actually named after ancient Greek mathematician Diophantus. Now a linear Diophantine equation is nothing but a first degree equation of this type. Means where you are going to get some polynomial equation of first degree whose solutions has to be restricted in integers. So let us proceed and see how to think about this. Now the real life problem, what you can think about, that is, in how many ways they are to make $2 from only nickels and quarters. Now you can have a very simple question like this, but there are so many important points that, can you go for negative integers here? Can you go for fractions here? Obviously the answers are no. So that means if you have to find out the solution of this question, that means you are going to use linear Diophantine equation, and you can write it as that n be the number of nickels and q be the number of quarters, because this is the question. That means you are having n is your unknown and q is your unknown, but your equation is only one, 5n plus 25q is equal to 200, because you have $2, so it will be converted into 200, and you need n and q in terms of integers. So now this real life problem is nothing but the example of linear Diophantine equation, and the solution, if exists, then only you can find out this. So what is the, that there are some important observations, that there is more than one solutions to account for. We have to concentrate on this part, as well as this is a problem, it is very much clear that it must be restricted for non-negative integers for this problem, but not for all linear Diophantine equations. Only the restriction is that to keep us within integral solutions. So what is the solution approach of these particular problems? Our question is how many ways there are to make this one. Now what we can write, 5n plus 25q is equal to 200. It is clear, already discussed in the last slide. Now we can note that there is a common factor of 5. So dividing it by 5, we can make our equation simplified by this. So what you can see, if you take n equal to 0, then your q can be 8. If you take your q equal to 0, then you can take your n is equal to 40. But is it only restricted to 2? Is there something more? If so, then how many? So these are the questions. So let us proceed further, and we can approach this problem just by our common sense, that the smallest positive value of either variables are 0 because it can be negative. So n must be multiple of 5. And why it is multiple of 5? Because it has to be shrinked with q also. Because if n is not a multiple of 5, then q and 5q is taken in the right hand side, then this both thing is n is equal to 40 minus 5q, means you can write it as 5 into 8 minus q. So if you can represent n is equal to 5 into 8 minus q, then n must be a multiple of 5. That is why it is written like this. So there are 9 non-negative multiples of 5 that are less than or equal to 40, starting from 0. So there are 9 ways to make this one, and look at this. The ordered pairs are something like this. But what the process we are following, it is an informal way of solving this problem. You can solve it as the numbers is less, and you can use your common sense. So let us complete this, then we will approach for the technical part. So 0, 8 already we got, and look at this 40, 0 already we got. But in these two numbers, there are some intermediate order pairs, and these are these. So if you take 5 here, because n has to be multiple of 5, so you can be 0, then 5 into, in this way it can be go to 40. So 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 and 40. Now in these combinations, accordingly the value of q can be calculated, because two variables equation, but you know one variable, the value of one variable. Okay, so let us proceed further. Let us take another problem. Then how many integer solutions there are to following equation subject to minus 20, 20 is the range of x and y, and this is the equation. Now look at this, here we can consider the negative solutions also. So how to proceed? We can think that it is very much easily observed that 2 and 1 is a pair of solution. So 3 into 2 6 plus 5 is 11. But then as the last problem, like observation on n, then x value must increase or decrease by a multiple of 5. The value of x, it has to be decreased or increased by multiple of 5. Similarly, the value of y will decrease multiple of 3 to make it balanced. X is balanced with 5 and y is balanced with 3. Now since the x values increases and decreases faster, to make the calculation easier, it is more constrained to us by restriction that xy is minus 20, 20. Yes, it is also the year 2020. The maximum value of x gives an ordered pair solution 17 and minus 8. The minimum value of x gives an ordered pair minus 18 and 13. So we are emphasizing on this 17 and we are emphasizing on minus 18. How it came? So look at this, start from 2, as it is going to be multiple of 5, increment or decrement. So 2 minus 5 is minus 3, then minus 8, then minus 13 and then minus 18. You can't go further because you will cross then minus 20. Similarly, it is 2, 7, 12, 17 and you can't go further because it will cross then plus 20. So this is your range. So the range of x is coming starting from 17 to minus 18. And correspondingly, you can find out the values of y, because if you put 17 you will get the value of y, if you put 12 you will get the value of y, and so on. And you can approach this problem by y also, because your value of y is 1 and you know the increment and the decrement of y can be available for 3. So the range of y can be also calculated as 1, then 4, 7, then 10. And in this way you can think, and similarly also in this way you can think. Now the minimum value is and the maximum value is also achieved. So what we can get in total, there are how many solutions, because this is our question, how many integer solutions are there. So 17 to minus 18, if it is if the range is this, then the total number of points, that means how many points are there. Look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many solutions you are going to get? 8 solutions. It is also not a formal approach, but similarly if you proceed, find the integer solutions to the equations 12x plus 21y equal to 80. What you see is very interesting, that we can write it as taking 3 common. 4x plus 7y is equal to 80 from your common sense. Then 4x plus 7y is equal to 80 by 3, where we are concentrating on integral solutions. So if x is integral, 4x will be an integer, say 7 is integer, then 7y will be another integer. Two integers you are adding and you are getting 80 by 3. Is it possible? Clearly not. It means you are not going to be able to solve this problem. So it is a contradiction. Now the properties. So there is a very important property of Diophantine equation, and now we are going to enter actually basically the formal technique of proving this. Let a and b be non-zero integers and we are taking GCD of a and b and it is d. Now you are going to see that what is the application of GCD in Diophantine equation. Then there exists integers x and y. We know that ax plus by will be equal to d. Furthermore, there exists integer x and y that satisfies ax plus by equal to n if and only if d divides n. So you got the required condition that when ax plus by equal to n will be having integral solutions. The answer is, after finding out GCD of a and b, if you see that your GCD is dividing n, then you will get the integers existence which will satisfy this, otherwise not. So if we have to find out the integer solutions of this equation, first of all, according to this technique, we have to find out the GCD of these two. Then we have to check whether that particular thing divides this 53 or not. If so, then the solutions will be there. If not, and we see what 14 and 91 is having GCD 7, but 7 never divides 53. So there are no integer solutions to this equation. So arbitrarily, by some informal way, if you are trying to find out the solution, it may be the case you will never get to any conclusion, but here the application of GCD is there, and which helps us to find out this one. So what is the process? Formal process is like that. Method of computing initial solutions of two variables first. So this is our given equation. Then what we do, we are taking a and b from that, we are finding out the GCD d from this. Then we are checking that d divides n or not. If not, there are no solutions. If yes, then what to do? Then we will reform the equations from the Euclidean algorithm by backtracking method. and then using substitution go through the steps of Euclidean algorithm to find out the solution of this one. That means first of all we have to find out all possible solution of axi plus by is equal to d, and this is solvable, we know that from the Euclidean theorem. After solving this we will get some x and y or xi yj, but it is not desired. Desired is ax plus by equal to n, where d divides n. So what will be the next case? Next case is very simple, converting this x and y for the solution of ax plus by equal to n is x into n by d comma yi into n by d, means as d divides n, that value will be multiplied with x and y. But simple. So let us have a practice problem on this. So this is our target. We have to find out the solution of this particular thing. So the process tells us that we have to concentrate on this one, we have to concentrate on this one, we have to find out GCD of this one. If it is dividing 30, obviously it will have the solution. If so, then you have to find out the solution. So let us check. By Euclidean algorithm, 141 can be written as this, then 34 can be written as this. Look at this, this 5 is used here, this 4 is used here, and 5 is equal to 1 into 4 plus 1. So when 1 is reached, obviously 1 will divide 4. So 1 is the GCD of this one, that is why the GCD of this one is 1, and 1 divides every number. So this is going to have a solution, integral solutions. So we have to reform using Euclidean algorithm. So reform means we have to write 1 in terms of 4, 5 and 4, then 4 in terms of 5 and 34, and then 5 in terms of 141 and 34, so that we can write 1 in ultimately 141 and 34. So these are there, this is coming from this line, then 34, 4 is equal to 34 minus 6 into 35, this is coming from this line, and so on. So in the next slide we will see the complete reformation. So what is this? Look at this. Our target is to find out first the solution of this one, where this is the GCD of 141 and 34. So we can start according to the last slide. 1 is equal to 5 into 1 minus 1 into 4. Then this 4 is represented in terms of 34 and 5. This process is elaborately discussed in the class of Euclidean algorithm, so I am not emphasizing on this very much. Rather, our target is to go for Diophantine equations and their solutions, and obviously the applications. And then 1 is kept as it was because our target is to move into this particular part. Then 34 is already there. We have 5. This 5 has to be removed by 141 and 34. This is from the first line of the Euclidean. So ultimately we get this one. So what is we are getting here? Xi the value is 7, and here yi the value is minus 29. So xi and yi is achieved, but our target is to find out x and y, where x is linked with xi and y is linked with yi by multiplication of n by t. Multiplication of n by t. So let us check. So x is 7, y is minus 29. So the solution of this one is this. And according to the last process slide, what you see, x is 7 into 30 because n is 30, d is 1. So we will get xi into 30 and yi is into 30. So minus 29 into 30 and 7 into 30. So this is the process. It's a very beautiful, very interesting thing. So what is the generalization of this? And this is a generalization that if x star y star is an integer solution of the Diophantine equation ax plus by equal to n, then first of all our target is to find out the solution for x star and y star as for n, but our target is to find out for n because m is given, and obviously if this division is allowed, then only we can do. And the thing is that x star plus m into b by GCD of ab, and y star minus m into a by GCD of ab. You can just test this by taking any problem and first find out the solution and then check whether this general structure is applicable or not. You will get it will be applicable. So in the same manner, if you are targeting for the last problem, find all integer solutions of the equation 141 plus 34y equal to 30. What we see, we get this one in the last equation, last problem, by multiplying 30. So any integer m, for any integer m, if we take the solution as x star plus m, look at this, b by GCD of ab, b is this one, that means here it is 34, GCD of ab is 1. So putting these values over in this structure, we will get this one. But look at the question. Question is find all integer solutions, not any integer solutions, all integer solutions. How to find it out? Let us check. So we are taking the problem as find the positive integers. The last problem, what we see, we have seen the all integer solutions. So this will be the form, putting m and m, the values we can get the in all integer solutions. But what is asked here? Here asked the only positive integer solutions. We have done these types of problem by our intuition in some informal way in this class, just 3 to 5 slides prior. But now we are using the Diophantine equation concept and the GCD. So 4x plus 7y is equal to 97. What we have, GCD of a comma b, that is 4 and 7 is 1. So obviously it will be divisible. Then one solution is 2 into 97, that means according to the structure of xi into n by d. And another one is this. So the solutions will be of the form 2 into 97 plus 7m minus 97 minus 4m. But our target is all positive integers. So what we do, this one will be also greater than 0. Similarly, this one will be also greater than 0. Now look at very cautiously. If 2 into 97 plus 7m is greater than 0 and minus 97 minus 4m is greater than 0, from this can I write that m minus 4m will go there, then minus 97 will be here, then this minus 4 will come here, or you can get this particular line from this part. Similarly, from this part you can get this particular line. So you are getting the range of m into fractions, but you know that m is an integer. So in this inequality you can find out what are the possible values of m, and the possible values of m are minus 27, minus 26 and minus 25. Only these three. If you take for something different, then either m, that means the value of x, or the value of y will not maintain the required condition that it has to be a positive integer solution. After putting this value of m in these equations, in these structures, we will get the answers are like this. Now we are coming into the end of our discussion. We are giving you the assignments. So first of all, the assignment, these properties you have to prove, because these are the standard properties what you can use, as well as you can have these types of problems. But I am very much emphasizing on a problem of this one. Look at this. It is very interesting, and you can give us the solutions by formal and informal ways by your observation power. So our target is to consider not only integers, our target is to find out the positive integers which satisfies this. We have discussed for all problems for 2 variables, but here you are getting one equation, the linear, with 3 variables. We are not asking what is the value of x and y and z. Instead of that, we are asking the value of x plus y plus z. This is the problem what you can face in any type of analytical interviews or analytical exams. So finally, I want to say that these references are used, and I am thanking you all for your kind cooperation in listening. So happy listening, happy learning.